Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Not Another Leeds podcast, your favourite podcast. And I know what you're thinking. I'm just as surprised as you are that we've made it to 32 episodes without being thrown in YouTube jail. That's because James and Kev aren't here this week. They're busy mining Bitcoin for Skynet, whoever they are. Right, so my two esteemed guests. The first one has recently invented a new Kama Sutra position and he's been inducted into the Kama Sutra. Luke, how are you, sir?
Have I? Have I?
That's what my producer said.
Yeah, I'm very well, mate.
He says,
go on.
I say you've got more receipts than the IRS in America on Twitter. Is that right?
that bit might be true. I don't think I'm flexible enough for the other one.
I think they've got an over 35s version of that. I might have to get it on Amazon.
There's only 4 pages and it's more of a pamphlet than a book.
It's just putting one foot in front of the
other. Horizontal. He's got horizontal. Yeah. And my other esteemed guest is Jer, the Jericho, as I like to call him, of everyday Leeds United team news. He knows everything and anything about anything you want to know. You ask the Jericho. How are you, Jer?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm shitting myself about tonight, but I'm good.
Yes, and we've just behind the scenes there, we've just seen the team sheet, which we will come on to. But has it relieved any nerves, boys?
Nope. No. It's
maybe added more. Right, okay.
As the saying goes, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out.
Yeah, Private Jones, don't panic. Don't panic. So, right, yeah. Before we get into Huddersfield briefly, obviously it will be a shorter episode tonight because I want to get the guys away so they can get behind the couch and watch the Wednesday game tonight even. So, right, there's been a bit of controversy in. We all know what Misfits boxing is, don't we? Jay, are you familiar with Jake Paul and he's fighting Mike Tyson this week?
Paying old men to fall over for him.
Well, yeah. So I thought I'd do some myself. So I'm here to call somebody out, right? And I've reached out to his people, but dead silence. So here is the sort of the promo of me calling somebody out. Tutankhamun, you don't know it, or maybe you do. You're a dead man, literally. If you think you're up for it, come and get me, Pharaoh. Yeah, all right. Have you heard about his brother?
No.
They found him covered in nuts and chocolate. Pharaoh Rocher. Taxi. Oh, my subscribers have gone down. Oh. Right, that's it. It's silly, isn't it? Jake Paul is trying to beat up all men. I don't know what he's trying to prove.
You know what?
Yeah,
I actually had one of these Misfits guys in my mentions after Huddersfield, apparently. I never heard of the guy.
You did. I saw you, mate. I saw it, yeah. Please go on.
And he modelled himself on being a Lady Gaga boxer. That was his whole thing.
Right.
Oh my word.
That's a look.
Did he does he poke a face instead of no? I'm here all night. I'm here all week, boys.
I don't know what he does. But it was. I made the mistake of actually getting a little bit deep and actually looking into his stuff because I thought, who's this coming for me? Like, you know what I mean? Never heard of this guy. Yeah. And he says you're still not getting promoted, or you still won't get promoted underneath from the thing. So I made the mistake of watching a few of his promo videos on that, and it's as bad as what you'd expect.
Made the mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's as bad as you'd expect.
You wouldn't expect the bar to be very high on it, would you? Probably.
No.
Honestly, I don't honestly know why do they make silly people famous? I would never know. By the way, I am silly. If you want to make me famous, yeah. Anyway, all right, let's go back to I'm silly. Yeah, that's right. Let's go back to the Huddersfield game right briefly then, and let's talk about it. Jer, you're over. I know you've both talked about it to death. I watched both your programs a lot, and we'll start with you, Jer, mate. Overall emphasis of the game for you, mate?
3 points. I kind of calmed down after watching it initially when on Joe's show, and I was a little bit wound up about the performance, but then you kind of realize the kind of period that we're in, it's important to get 3 points. just get the 3 points. Do whatever you have to do to get 3 points and move on.
We got one.
Sorry, Huddersfield got a point, but then the Stoke game after it. 2 performances that weren't great, but I was all right with the point against Huddersfield. I think they went out with a game plan, and they did their game plan to the best that they could. They stopped Leeds. They went back to the old blueprint of how to stop Leeds, which was low block, kick them up in the air and wait for set pieces. But I think we got a goal in that game where I think earlier on the season we wouldn't get a goal in that game. We lose 1-0. So from the Huddersfield perspective, I settled for a point. I knew we'd drop points between then and the end of the season. The Stoke game performance I wasn't happy with the performance, but 3 points was all that was important. But we just need to pick it up again. Get this week out of the way and pick it up again. I
could have swore, well, I was watching it on international radio, I think Luke calls it. And I could have swore I heard them in the Tula going, mean machine, because that's what they seem to do. They just came out. The only game plan was just to kick lumps out of them. And Luke, I mean, Oggy, it's just come out now. I don't know if you've noticed, but Nakayama is out for the rest of the season, and that's Hoggy's fault for trying to foul. What's his name? Yeah, he's out for the rest of the season. I think
he's a good player.
Ampadu. No, it wasn't.
He was trying to foul. I'm sure it might have been Somerville actually. Was it his first?
It was Somerville. It was Somerville. You're right.
And it just proves how hard Somerville is.
Yeah.
Vibranium in his legs. Luke, how did the game go for you, mate? I know you we won't spend too much time
to echo exactly what Joe said, really, but the thing that stood out for me was how quickly and easily we were sucked into playing to their script and playing in their style of football rather than playing our own game and doing what we do best. And fair props to Huddersfield. They didn't give us a chance to do that, really, because I think one thing we did miss was a Liam Cooper or somebody to put a tackle in from our half and let them know that they weren't having it their own way. A proper, and I'm not saying Ampadu isn't a natural leader, but somebody who's been here, done that, and got a little bit of a mean streak about him who can actually give them a bit back, because that's all they had. And I think if we'd have kicked one or two of theirs about, we might have evened the playing field, and they might have actually sat off us a little bit more and given us a bit more space to play in then. But it didn't happen. So look, I'm well and truly over that performance. I thought I was going into Stoke, and then yeah. But I don't know if you're happy for me to move on to Stoke quickly, but I'm going to anyway. So
I did.
You do what you want, Luke. You do what you want.
The reason is because there's a nice little relay into it, actually. But I felt the reaction. I felt the first half against Stoke was brilliant. I thought we played really, really well. I just felt that it wasn't a complete 90-minute performance at Stoke. But the reaction was exactly what I expected. Home, under the lights. And the first 45 minutes, I felt we could have been 4 or 5 up. We just needed to have taken the chances, and that game would have been far less nervy.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I don't know. I'm sure Kamara has it in his contract that if he shoots more than 5 times in a season, he gets a fine or something. Because if anyone else is in that position, they're slapping that ball towards the net. But then he just does a 180 and passes it to Somerville. And I think you let Somerville off a bit because he's gone, he's passed to me, and he's obviously fluffed it a bit, and Nichols has saved it. But by that point, we should be 1 up, and that's that game sorted. Now I'm going to be a bit controversial here. But you can tell me to shut up and I'll close the stream if I'm being absolutely silly. But if they keep 11 men, do they go on to win that game? Joe? Is that outlandish?
No, I don't think they do, because I think the goal, they were still talking about Huddersfield, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I think their goals just come from set pieces. I think we made most of our own problems in that game. We just kept giving away silly free kicks in wide areas, which if you're a team that play the way they do, you want wide free kicks because you want opportunities to pump the ball into the box and get an angle and get the big men up. I mean, it's not a surprise that Jan Hellick is their top goal scorer this season. He's a big lump of a centre-back, so that tells you how they play. And we just played into their hands. We just kept giving away. I mean, Willie Gnonto gives away the free kick. It's such a immature free kick to give away. He gets burst by one of their players 20 yards higher up the park, and then the next chance he gets to kick somebody, he runs after and pushes him in the back and gives away a free kick just out of anger. And I think that's all they really had. I think if they keep 11 men in the park, I don't think it changes how they play. Maybe they come out a bit more. Maybe they try and push for a second, and that plays into Leeds' hands a little bit. But
Yeah.
and we still do make hard work of trying to break down a low block. We're better at it than we were, but we still do make hard work of it at times. And I think maybe if they played a bit more, we would have got more opportunities off them. But look, we did what we needed to do. We got a point. And again, as I said earlier on the season, I don't think we get a point there. I think we walk away with a 1-0 defeat because we can't break them down. But we broke them down, and that's all that was important in that game. But yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true, mate. Yeah, I think Huddersfield at the time scored more goals from crosses than any other team in the Championship when we played them. And when you've got Nonto, who's just losing it, I won't say petulant, but like say immature, giving, like in a set piece is next to close to a goal for them at that point because the crowd got behind them. And I thought Millier for me did really well for the save. He was just really unfortunate that I think it was Firpo who was closest. He just didn't react quick enough.
But I think a right footer just swings his foot at that ball and clears it away. And you can see Firpo kind of make a move to do it, but then overthinks it and then tries to poke his left. And that split second of hesitation allows the other player to come through. But to be fair, no other player made a move to track the run. Like after that header went in, no player ran towards Melier to clear it. And they did. They reacted better to the second ball to get that. But I wouldn't blame Firpo for it. He's the only one that tries to get involved and tries to clear it, but it's on the wrong side for him.
Yeah. Luke, the Huggy gets sent off whilst injuring his own player. Good lads. We're a legend, eh? We're a Leeds legend. That obviously then changes the game. They go down to 10 and they just hunker down. Obviously, it took us till the later stages of the second half to get a goal. Did you always feel that goal coming?
Yeah, it felt like it. And sort of just to respond to your question that you asked, Jared, do I think they win if they have 11 on the field? I think absolutely not. I think we win if they've got 11 on the field because it's far. They're not sat as deep as. I mean, they were sat deep deep enough anyway. But I think if they have 11 men on the field right up until the end, I think they sort of express themselves a little bit more, which leaves a few more gaps. So I think we probably get more than one goal. I think actually them getting a red card made things a lot more difficult for us, ironically. But yeah, he's. Are we allowed to swear on this one? Is it late enough?
Mate, you could say what you want. Just don't drop a C-bomb or anything, like racy.
No, I mean he's a first class knobhead. Is Hogg, and that is and Pearson's the exact same. Look, they're putting the team to rough players up and put themselves about and to make younger players feel uncomfortable on the ball and not to make them think they haven't got a lot of time on the ball and it works to an extent and it does work to an extent. But there's a reason why they've both got. I don't know the most cards in the league. I think Hogg's got the most yellows and Pearson's got the most reds.
Yes.
Who's that?
Pearson's got 7 career red cards. I think he's got 3
of them are against us. Yeah. I mean, he came through the Scum Academy, didn't he? But yeah, I don't think. I did feel the goal was always coming. I did feel, but I was I was relieved when it came because it was almost felt like it was going to be one of those days, didn't it? And I think just to go back and say sort of expand on what Jer says, I suppose, is we probably wouldn't have got that goal earlier on in the season. I don't think we would. I think we would have lost that game earlier on in the season. I think we have transitioned and we've gone through enough changes. And there was a time when we couldn't play from away from home. We've got over that. There was a time when we couldn't beat a low block. We've got over that. We've made all the right changes within throughout the season. And I think that's props to Daniel Farke and his coaching team. But yeah, I think we dropped more than 2 points in that game earlier on if it was played earlier on in the season in the same style and same fashion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they treat that draw for the town fans as a win, basically. And I live on the border, right? And not one dog howled during the night, so I feel sorry for them. I say a secret prayer. I work with a lot of town fans, and I live near loads of town fans, and
there's a lot of them. So do you work with them all, or what?
You what?
You a vet?
Say again.
I didn't know you were a vet.
No. Well, I've actually got a picture of you. I've actually, obviously, they go out, they get drunk, and I showed it last week. It's a picture of a town fan, and he's finding out that he took his dog to an ultrasound,
Can
and
be a dad. Oh,
he's expecting a litter very
Congrats.
shortly.
lovely. That's
Yeah.
lovely.
If you're new to this podcast, we are very silly. Please like and subscribe. We might get to episode 33. We don't know. Right. Yeah. So overall, actually, there's one thing that I do want to mention is that Somerville got a bit of stick. I'll come to you first, Luke. Do you think he's been off it because apparently he's not been training and he's been carrying an injury? I mean, is it noticeable? And I think was it? It might have been you, Luke, or one. I can't remember who said it. That Nonto playing so well has covered for Somerville having a bit of below par games.
No,
I'm sure it was.
I think that it was me. Yeah, I think there's parallels there, because I think that teams have recognised that Somerville and Rutter actually are probably our two certainly our two most dangerous footballers. And the reason that Nonto's had a little bit of breathing space is because that they are doubling up on these players, or even trebling up on them sometimes, which is freeing and it's freeing Nonto on the opposite side, or Dan James, or whoever's playing there. It could be bloody Scott Wotton out there, and he'd get a bit of space. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think the fact that teams are having to work extra hard to actually press those two players, particularly for us, it's tiring them out, and it is leaving the whoever's playing on the right a little bit more space. I don't think some of us have been any worse, or Rutter's been any worse. I think they've been less effective is probably the best word, one of a word.
Yeah.
And simply because teams have wised up and thought, right, we neutralise their threat, but actually we're blessed with having threats everywhere, but they are certainly our two biggest threats. I think it's probably slightly unfair. I think they've been below par by their own standards this season, but that's simply because that they have been marked out of the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree, mate. You're on the money there, especially Rutter. One thing, I mean, we'll come on to the Stoke game. I know that the stat that sticks out of me that a little bit of criticism for Rutter is he loses the ball too much for me in certain games. Like he goes to try and just back into the man, he falls over, and then he plays for the foul, and the ref's just not going to give it. That's just me personally. I know in the Leicester game, I think I've just said it. He lost the ball 22 times, and it's just like Nonto does it as well, and it's a gripe for me. Not just these two in particular, but any player that does it who tries to charm the referee. You know what I mean? But like moving on to the Stoke game, then. Joe, what was? I mean, we looked leggy, didn't we? We looked tired.
Yeah. Middle of the park, especially for me, looked especially in the second half. It was. I think you just said that old cliche of a game of two halves. Very good in the first half, very leggy looking in the second half. I keep saying this. I think the second half of games is catching up with Glenn Kamara a little bit because of the lack of a preseason. I thought he looked tired. I thought he was dropping deeper and deeper and deeper and not getting out as quick to press their midfielders. Their midfield came into the game in the second half, and that was their biggest problem was shutting down the middle of the park. Which is why I'm kind of surprised to see him start tonight. I thought he'd go for more energy in there with Archie. But Parker knows better. But yeah, I did think it was a leggy looking performance, but they've played a hell of a lot of football in a short amount of time as well. Like it's a ton, and it's not just the amount of football, it's the quality of pitches they're playing on as well. Farke complained about the Huddersfield pitch as well, but the weather's not been good. The pitches are wet. They're heavy. They're training in heavy pitches as well. So it has an impact on the legs. And the way Leeds play with such intensity in the first 15, 20 minutes, if you don't get a goal in those first 20 minutes, all of a sudden you can feel the energy getting sucked out of your legs. So they have looked a little bit leggy. I agree with what Luke said about Rutter and Nonto as well. I think there's a lot more attention on them as well. And I think teams now know when the ball goes into Rutter's feet, he's going to take a couple of touches so you can get close to him. You can get into him. He'll give you a chance to get close to him. The thing with me that I think we're not being smarter, and this comes down to something I've been saying all year about moving the ball too slowly at times, is when you are getting doubled up on, that means there's a gap somewhere else. Has to be. There's a gap somewhere else. So if you look at, say, Somerville against Huddersfield, Dan James was in acres of space on the right-hand side of the park because they had squeezed all the way across to smother him and Rutter. And if you move that ball quickly back into the middle of the park and back out wide, you've got space to play. And that's where Leeds' goal came from. Same in the second half against Stoke. Leeds weren't getting the ball across the park quick enough to try and spread them out a bit more. Creed sometimes can take far too many touches for me and slow the game down a little bit at times. But again, I think it's because he gets the ball in space, he's expecting to get a run. Next bang, there's 2 players on him, and he runs at space. The other thing with me with Cree is sometimes for me, Cree's starting position is too high. So he's nearly marking the fullback already, where if he drops a bit deeper, he pulls the fullback out with him, and that gives him space to run in behind. So that's another thing. I said this to young wingers when I was coaching them, was your job isn't to mark the fullback. Your job is to make the fullback mark you. So drop deeper, drag him out of position, make him come to you. And then when you get it, put the ball past him into the space and then run him. Use your pace then. I think Cree needs to do a bit more of that as well and stop pushing so high on so early and marking players. But again, it's youth, it's an experience, and he'll learn from this as well. And I'm sure Fark is in his ear telling him what he should be doing. But if he's a little bit cuter at times, I think he can make an awful lot more space for himself. But if he uses the ball quicker, take one touch, pass it, go again. If he starts doing that more often, he'll get a lot more space. But he's got to be smarter to know what to do with the ball when he is being doubled up. And he's got to nearly expect it now and look for those little 1-2s and get in behind and stop taking 4, 5, 6 touches and putting his foot on the ball and stopping. If he can do that, I think he'll be fine. But there's a huge amount more. Again, it's kind of why I'm surprised the team. I'm looking at the lineup and I'm surprised at the lineup for tonight, because I think against Huddersfield, the attack was identical. Cree and Nanto attack the same ways. They come inside, the loads of touches, they like to run the ball close. James comes on, it's far more direct to push it down the line, run after it, opens it up a bit more. And then when you swap them over, it makes the fullbacks have to think differently. With Nanto and Somerville, they're very similar in a lot of ways. So they just need to be smarter and move the ball quicker for me. And then the doubling up won't be as big a deal. And for Georgie, it's take the ball in, hold it up a little bit, and then pass it short and move off. Stop trying to do turns in the middle of the park. Stop trying to do it all. He needs to stop giving the ball away as much as he is. He needs to take the pressure off Leeds a little bit. And that will help with the legginess as well, because when it goes into him, you start to see fullbacks and everyone run past him. When he loses it, they've got to turn around and sprint back again. So if he can hold it up and bring them into it, it's less running involved for them. They can jog back then when the ball's out of play, but just a little bit more. It's a lack of experience, I suppose, that's there. And look, they're exciting players and they do exciting things, and you want them to do exciting things. You don't want to take that out of their game, but in certain situations, they just need to know when to move the ball quickly, and other times when to put their foot on the ball and take the sting out of the game.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you've just said, because it's just frazzled my little brain. But I agree, I know where you're coming from. I love Rutter, right? When he's got his head down and he's running away, it reminds me. I feel like he's just found the last clue to solve a mystery. That's how you know what I mean, when he's running away down the middle of the park. We've got a question here. From a comment from Matt. Bamford seemed to be dropping in the 10 last game, and as Rutter didn't. Sorry, I ain't got my glasses on. Seemed to be in, and I can't read. I lied all my life. I can't read comments. Like he normal is. Hopefully, he is better tonight. So, what do you think, Luke?
Yeah, we went into this quite in quite some depth actually on Joe's show when we were talking about whether or not we should be looking at playing Matteo Joseph over Paddy Bamford. But the reason for that was that, again, this is another sort of addition, I suppose, and another reason as to why we're looking a little bit more ineffective. Paddy Bamford will look great with Rutter at 10 before he was having 2 players on him. Paddy Bamford with Rutter without his ball at the feet, it looks relatively ineffective. But if you actually watch Paddy Bamford, he does all the right things. He does, apart from put the ball in the net more regularly, he does all the right things. No, he does, and I'm hoping people who were suggesting Joseph will maybe take a few pointers from the conversation we had, and actually I'd watch a bit of Bamford's movement tonight and just watch what he does off the ball, watch how he pulls defenders around and that. But with regards to him dropping into the 10, I think he felt he had to try and pull that additional, whether it was a defensive midfielder or a centre back who was teaming up on Rutter, try and pull one of those away from him and give him a little bit more space, which obviously meant there was nobody then playing in the 9, which was unfortunate. But I don't think he's been off it. I think he's been, again, less effective because teams have done a good job on both Somerville and Rutter.
Yeah, he's a totally different player to Perot. Obviously, we'll come on to Perot in a second. Like we say every week, Bamford is that striker that likes to hug the last line, and he occupies both central defenders, and he does create chaos. And I just don't think Perot's that agile enough. I just don't think it's not like he's not bothered, but I just feel they're just totally separate players. I remember during the transfer season window at the beginning of the season, I remember Lockie saying he doesn't fit the system. I'm sure it was Lockie or Andrea.
Lockie and Andrea.
Yeah. And I remember, and I thought, well, and then next thing you know, he's he's on his way to Leeds, and I think have they just seen? Yeah, he's got great stats. He was last season's one of the top goal scorers, and just get him in. Do you know what I mean? That's
When he's got
that's
11
the
goals
thing.
in not very, he's not doing too bad, too
No,
shabby,
he's
is
doing
he?
fine.
No.
But he
I
doesn't.
He's not
agree,
the
You're
mate.
main,
right. He
Yeah.
he's
doesn't.
not the main man anymore, and that's the
He
big
yeah.
thing.
Mm.
Where
He
at
doesn't do
Swansea,
the same job as
everything went to
Bamford.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's not.
And that's
They're
why we
very
were
different.
struggling with low blocks, by the way. When
Yeah.
when Rutter was playing in front of Pirro, that's why that was the time when we were really struggling.
Yeah. That was a really bad patch.
What I will say about Pirro is when he came on against Stoke, it was exactly what we needed. Because again, as I said, the ball was just pinging off Rutter and we weren't keeping it. And all of a sudden, Pirro came on and the ball was going to his feet and he was putting his foot on the ball. And again, 4 or 5 yards past, just keeping possession of the ball. And like he's only 24, Pirro, but there was a little bit more experience than Georgie in that situation to go. What we need right now is a calmer head and not someone who's explosive and not someone who's overly skillful. We just need somebody to come on, do it simple, keep it tidy. And I thought he was really good when he came on in that game because it was getting a bit frantic. We were under a lot of pressure. And then all of a sudden, you had Joseph to do all the running in behind, and you had Pirro to kind of come short, link the play, slow it down, relax everybody a little bit, keep possession of the ball. So there's I think it's figuring out what games to play him in and what games not to play him in. I think that's going to be the one. And then the partnerships as well. Maybe him and Joseph works quite well as a partnership, where Rutter and Bamford works really well as a partnership, and Pirro and Rutter didn't really work as much. So there could be something in that as well. Possibly.
Yeah. So going on to the subs, obviously we saw the team sheet. Dan James and Roberts are starting, which I thought were nailed on. I thought it were nailed on that they started. I mean, Luke, if you Roberts now, is it 2 assists and 1 goal now in his previous 3-4 games? You can tell why he's been in Championship Team of the Year last season.
Absolutely, I think he's been everything we've needed and more. And whether that's coming off the bench and doing that job, or whether it's actually doing what he's been doing when he's been given a start, I just think I can see why he's been rotated. I don't want to use the word drop because I don't think it's been worthy of being dropped. I can see why the rotation has happened. However, I think, as we've already mentioned, we looked a little bit leggy in the middle of the park, so I would have expected maybe Gray to come in for potentially Kamara, and then maybe still which would have seen Roberts still start. But yeah, he's been fantastic for us. He gets forward really well. He gets into positions that a right back doesn't have any right to be in. In fairness, he's inside. He's almost playing as a central attacking midfielder at times. As an additional 10. And that's where his goals and his assists tend to have come from, other than the cross for, was it? It was scored the other day with the cross. Was it Somerville?
Paddy.
I can't remember.
Paddy scored against
Paddy.
Yeah,
that's right.
Paddy, yeah.
So yeah, no, look, I think he's been great. I can see why he's been left on the bench as well, because I mean it's a great option to have to bring both of those on at the same time. If we need to, and inject a bit more pace down that particular side. And to be fair, I don't think Willie deserved to be rotated before they brought Dan James back. But before that, if Dan James wasn't injured, Nonto wouldn't have got an opportunity either. So it's a catalogue of unfortunatisms that's actually led us, and we're in a good position because we've got all these options, which is great. It's a great headache to have, and it's nice to actually be able to have these conversations and not banging out a Neil Warnock 4-4-2 every week with Paul Green and various others. So it is a nice headache to have. I think they're very unlucky, but I'm sure Farker knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And there'll be a reason. There'll be a rhyme and reason for it. He will have a good reason.
Of course, mate. Obviously, the same night Ipswich played. I don't know if you caught that game. Did you catch it?
Yep.
I can't believe it. And I want to bring up the bookmarks, and I've bookmarked here. It's from Saint Statistics, and he says, "Are Ipswich Town the luckiest team in the Championship history?" Right, so XG goal difference plus 14. Out of the box goals scored 9, which makes them 4th. Opposition own goals 4. Red cards conceded. Deflected goals scored 8. What do you think?
It's because they just smash the ball into areas, don't they? That's the thing we said again earlier on this year about sometimes just get to the byline and smash the ball into the box, and if it pings in off somebody else, it doesn't matter. It goes in the back of the net. And sometimes we try and walk the ball in, where Ipswich are more a case of it's just attack at massive pace and just smack the ball into areas and try and cause a little bit of chaos. It'll work in the Championship. I'm not so sure it'll be effective in the Premier League. I mean, the Jesse Marsh chaos system didn't work in the Premier Division. I think Ipswich have got a little bit of chaos in the Championship, and it's kind of working for them a little bit. But and everyone just keeps expecting them to drop off. But I think Kieran McKenna's done a cracking job with them. I mean, he's coached the team to be better than they were. Leif Davis doing everything in his power to make sure Leeds don't go up automatically, getting 2 assists and a goal during the week. But you kind of say to yourself, look, their luck will run out at some point. But then you start to think, are they making their own luck? You know, at this point, like they're just not going away, and they don't look to me like they're going to go away.
I think there's a bunch of Ipswich fans down there that gather round a cauldron and chant until they pass out, because that's the only explanation. While they're not, apart from them playing good football, you know, if they eventually go up, you've got to, you know, if they go into second above us, you know, promoted that is, you know, you've just got to hold your hands up and say, you know, fair play. You've gone a full 40-odd game season, and you've dropped off, but you've come straight back. And to say that these came up through League One last season, you know, fair play, but it's not end of the season, so will you just go away? the herpes of the Championship of the top two, we just go away.
I saw that. That meme where it says, if you could get rid of one thing on planet Earth, what would it be? And Ash had said Ipswich.
Yeah. I actually live quite close. So Ipswich is like, I'm sort of between Ipswich and Cambridge where I live, and so I've got a lot of friends that support Ipswich. And do you know what? They are here on merit, and there's no denying that they're playing some lovely stuff. And never say die attitude. You know, they how many games they've won in you know, final minutes, and they were 2-0 down, I think, against Birmingham earlier on the season, and they clawed it back in the last minute, scored 2 in injury time to get a draw, get a point there. So yeah, look, in a way, I hope they get up, but not at our expense.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd take second. I don't want to sound very holier than thou or all like that, but I don't care if I take second. You know what I mean? I'd take it. Farke with trust, and I think he will do a better job than he has done in previous seasons in the Premier League. But that's a conversation for another day. Now, we have done 32 minutes, so I want to get the guys away before kick off. So we will do this week's Guess the Player. Now, if you are new here, what we do. Well, what I do, not you, is I'll bring up a photo for about 5 seconds. You take in all the information, and I ask you, who do you think this player is? Now, we'll get in the comments, obviously, if you're watching or watching later on. Don't read the comments because you'll see what it is. So here we go. So this week there's 2. So you tell me, who do you think these 2 players are? I've blocked out their faces, and that's your 5 seconds, Luke. I'm sorry, that's the rules of the game. Just because you haven't done it for a while, Luke, I'll give you 5 more seconds.
My screen's really small as well. Let me just put it on full screen mode. Let's have a look.
Are you ready?
Oh, far away.
There you go. Obviously, they've got the season that Parma won the Coppa Italia or whatever it was. So any clues, Joe? Any inklings?
Do you want to give me a clue?
I
think I've got this. I think I'm confident here. I think I've got this. I'm pretty confident. I think it's Mario and Luigi.
Oh, the Jericho may have struck. What about you, Luke? Who do you think it is? If you want some clues, in the comments, we've got Einar, who's a regular. Welcome. It says Twiggy and Berlusconi. And then we've got Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men.
Both good wingers in their day. Both very good wingers.
Yeah. I honestly have not got a clue.
If you had to guess.
I would guess Batistuta.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can tell you've not watched for a while, Luke, because these famous players were involved in their Coppa. Andrea will correct me if I'm wrong. So this is what you saw. It's actually everyone's favorite Autobots, Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee. You know, everybody knows that they were vital.
Bumblebee a cracking season that year. To be fair to him, he was very good. Yeah, up and down. Very good.
They always do. Roll out. That's my Optimus Prime voice. Can we get an impression? Any impressions here?
No.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, he's just texted me actually. He was like, Shut up. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's move on to tonight then. We'll go through the team sheet. Have you got it up there, Jeremy? Actually,
Yeah,
you still got it
yeah.
up.
Yeah, give us a sec.
Now, Sheffield, I've won 4 out of the past 5 games. Now that makes me really nervous, especially at Hillsborough. Now that they've got a bit of momentum, and they've got the team sheet here. Look, right. So Millian goal, Firpo, Gray, Rodon, Ampadu. Standard back 4, and then we've got Gruev, Kamari in the middle, which sent the groans for us, didn't it? And Monto, Bamford, and Jorginho and Somerville. Now, what's your thoughts on that?
Sorry,
go on, Luke.
No, I was. All I was going to say. We've all noticed that Nonto and Grave come back into the team. Nobody's noticed that Firpo's jumped back on the left left back instead of Byram as well. So, don't know. I don't know what to make of it. In honesty, I don't know. Is Bannon playing for them? Is anyone seen? He's playing? Because I know he went off injured midweek. One of my mates is a big Wednesday fan. So he makes some take.
Though.
No Paveda. I think they've really been enjoying him. So yeah, I am nervous as shite. I'll be honest with you. And there's reasons for that. Obviously, they're on a run. They're fighting for relegation. It's a Yorkshire derby. It's a Friday night. It's got all the makings for a Leeds loss. And let's be perfectly honest. We know we're going to hit the bar. Yeah. We're going to hit both posts. And it's just not good. You can't get by a goal. And yeah, no doubt they'll score from a Barry Bannon 40-yarder or something like that. I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll still win because I'm naturally positive about this sort of thing. But there's just something about it, and it's the worst I've felt this season about it. I think about a game that I'm not going to. That yeah, it's just all a bit shit, innit? Yeah, it's not though. It's really good. We've won 31 out of 33 points, and we're still worried about the team that.
But you're going to get edgy now, aren't you? Because there's only so many games left, and we know we have to win. You're going to get a bit edgy, and you kind of start looking at certain games, and you start to go, well, maybe 4 months ago you were like, yeah, not a big deal, but now you're like, well, if you do drop points here, it's a bigger deal now because you're in the run, and that's why. Like I keep looking at the Millwall game, and I wasn't bothered by Millwall at all, and then I saw Neil Harris get the job, and I was like, okay, now I'm a little bit more edgy about that game because I know what it's going to be. It's going to be kick and rush. The big thing for me is going to be minimizing free kicks and set pieces against us because Barry Bannon's in a fantastic deliverer of a ball. Any dead balls around the wide areas, he's going to put them in on top of our defense and on top of Melier. That's my concern is going to be set pieces. Leeds need to minimize the amount of silly free kicks and silly corner kicks that we give away. We give away a hell of a lot of corners in games. We've got to minimize them tonight against these. Maybe Fark has looked at what they've got and thinks that this lineup is better suited to getting a result more so than Roberts and James. I think the two have been in very good form in recent weeks. I think they've both made a big impact in the team. I think James has been we talk about being effective. James has been effective all season. Not always been brilliant performances for him, but he's been effective in the final third with assists and goals. And I thought Conor Roberts just gives us so much going forward. Someone did say earlier on that maybe having Firpo and Roberts in the team is having two fullbacks that are overly attacking, which means the midfielders have to drop out and you might concede some space. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've stopped questioning Farke's team sheets because he's doing well. He's doing great. So I trust that he's doing the right things. The middle of the park as well as an area for me. I expect Glenn Kamara to have a strong start to the game. Need to keep watching him into the second half as well. I just want to see where the legs are at with him because I do think he's been a little bit leggy. He's been very, very good. He's had a phenomenal season for Leeds, but the fact that he hasn't had a pre-season, there's been games this year. The Huddersfield game, I thought he was miles off it. Second half against Stoke. First half, he was brilliant. Second half against Stoke, I thought he looked off it again. If we concede space in the middle of the park, we'll get overrun. And that's my concern. So
do you think that's one of the natural changes? Do you think that's one of the natural changes for us then that we'll see Graham move into midfield and then Roberts comes on?
I think it's probably the first change you see made. Yeah. Or Byron, if we're winning the game, Byron for Firpo. I think that they're the changes you're likely to see. If Leeds are winning 1 or 2-0, I think you'll see Byron come on for Firpo. If Leeds are 1-0 up or to chasing the game, I think you'll see Roberts come on for Kamara, Gray going to midfield, Roberts going to right back. I think that'll happen. And then James for one of the two wingers.
I think the key for me is the first 15 minutes. We need to make convert our opportunities. None of this fluffing it in the 6-yard line, and we just we need to just put our opportunities away and put this to bed straight away. Get the crowd booing the team, get the morale down. and then we can go on and win 16-0.
Kill their momentum.
Right.
We need to kill their momentum. But they're 4 games, 4
exactly.
wins in a row. They've only lost 2 games in the last 6, I think. 1 game in the last 6. They've got a very good manager in Danny Rowe. He's got them playing lovely football as well. I'd like them to have a go at us. Let them have a go at us because that plays into us. If they sit back, it's a different ball game. But if they come at us, all right, yeah, I fancy us. But we have to win the battles in the first 10 minutes and shut the crowd up.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Let's get a score prediction from you both. I know that you're both nervous, as me. Nervous like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Joe?
2-2.
Oof. I'll take it. It's points, not end of the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world. I still don't think a point's the worst. I still think everyone else will drop points. It's not the worst in the world, but I think 2-2. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we batter them. But I'm a bit nervous about this one.
What about you, Lukey boy?
Despite everything I've said, I'm going to bottle it and still say that we're going to win 2-0. I think we're just too good for him. I think. But then again, 2-0 Leeds.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1, but I think we concede first. I think it's going to be a carbon copy of Huddersfield, but we win it this time. Right, so if you are new here, we've got 2 more segments to do, and then I'll get the guys away so we can watch it, so I won't keep you long. So what we do now is called Top Knob, and what we do is nominate someone that's really pissed you off, and we vote on it and see who wins Top Knob. So let's get into this week's Top Knob.
Top Knob.
Yeah. Right. So, Luke, have you got any idea who would you like to nominate for Top Knob, sir?
More a group of people, and it's just generally it's Huddersfield fans.
I knew that would come in. I've seen you in the trenches all week.
They got me banned for a day on Twitter. I'd spend Sunday twiddling my thumbs.
Making Kama Sutra positions, aren't you? That's what happened. Joe, who's your Top Knob, mate?
I'd like to nominate the EFL for not having their profit and sustainability rules airtight and letting Leicester off the hook.
Such a good one. Do you know what? I'm gonna nominate both because I think they're both knobs anyway. So the EFL and Huddersfield Town fans, you are this week's Top Knob.
Top Knob.
Best jingles in the game. So what do you? So Luke, since last time you came on, I've become a secret millionaire, and I've created a lot of AI software, and I've created the NALP 3000, which is an intense, and it's got a mind of its own lately. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's a supercomputer which generates questions and stuff like that. Do you want to see what it's like?
Go for it. Of course I do.
Yeah. So here we go then. This is the supercomputer NALP 3000. Beep boop beep.
Calculating. Question found. Danny, tell Alexa to stop texting me. She gave me the digital clap. Anyway, which Leeds player would you nominate to fight for your life in Thunderdome?
I don't care, right? Gary, can we sort this out? Get an antivirus in. Sorry about that, boys. Alexa, stop texting this. Alexa, stop. Yeah, okay. So, who would you nominate? Who would you nominate to fight for you in Thunderdome? Luke, you look like you've already got a player in mind.
I've got a few actually. So obviously before my time, it would have probably been Norman Hunter based on reputation. But I think certainly for what I've seen out, it would have to be between David Batty and Robert Molyneux.
Big Bob.
Oh,
yeah, man.
Yeah. What about you, Joe? Who would you send in swinging?
I wouldn't mess with Jack Charlton. I think he'd have a reach as well, you know. I like the shout of Bob though. Big fan of Bob. Like that a lot. I think David Batty would be there. Yeah, I think you could stick Vinnie Jones in as well, but Bats for me. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I'm going to send Brendan Aronson because I don't like him and I want him to get beat
Just
up.
fall over and just lie there, play dead.
No, I'd send Berardi in, because I'd thought you got
another good shout.
Yeah.
He'd already go in with blood on him from getting psyched up for it. He'd be smashing his head off a wall before he went in.
I just feel like that he'd just be ravenous in there and he'd just he'd wear the skin of the dead enemies upon his trophies and stuff like that. But anyway, that's for a dark.
Variety's like
That's for
Naylor
the.
for me. He doesn't look right in a Leeds picture unless there's blood on his shirt. You know, it doesn't look right.
That's for my psychologist to analyze later on when they show this in my court case. Right. So that I'll say it is getting on now, and I want to get the guys away. So thank you, Joe and Luke, for jumping on. And may I say that you look very well in a Star Trek uniform.
It fit very well. I felt quite snug in it. It was lovely. Yeah. Enjoyed the photo.
I will try and dig a picture out. Actually, I went as a fancy dress once to spot as Spock. So I've actually got with the fake ears and everything. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll try and dig a picture out from somewhere. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed myself.
Thanks for
to be there, though.
Mate. And we boldly went when no one else boldly get it. No,
Get it.
No?
Get it.
Thanks very much, everyone, for watching. Please do like and subscribe. We'd like to make it to 40 episodes this time. Obviously, this has been quite a calm one, if you will. Oh, we didn't talk about Pearson, did we? Oh, never mind. He just reminds me of some sort of 1800s midshipman with that hair. He was terrible, isn't he? Right. So thanks very much. And obviously, you got any? Is it the Baradian Cup tomorrow, Luke?
Maybe.
Right. Okay.
Possibly Sunday morning. We tend to jump on a Sunday morning now, depending because we're all busy and got stuff going on. But it is Mother's Day, so it might be tomorrow. I really don't know, if I'm honest with you, Danny.
Yeah,
it'll be one of those days.
That's fine. Well, go check the guys out if you don't already over at Ought to Know Better. Jay, are you going to have a match review tomorrow?
Yeah, when I get up tomorrow, I'm going to do a review of a game. I'm on Joe's later on for the reaction straight after the match, but I'll probably be a wreck at that stage. So I'll do a camera version in the morning when I've settled down. But yeah,
I'll be in the comments later, Jay. So look out for loads of love hearts.
Aww.
Right, yeah. So thanks very much, everyone, for joining, and we will see you next week.
Bye.